this is the figure given in this question, and we are asked to find the coordinates of point R. Now, an interesting thing to notice is that if you take any point across this line over here, the x coordinate of that point will be equal to 5. All right. So that's because this line over here is perpendicular to the x-axis, right? And you can see that if you take this point, this point, this point, this point, any point, the x coordinate is equal to 5. Only the y coordinate keeps changing as you move across this line. So you can see over here you have q 5, 3. So the x coordinate of q is 5. Similarly, the x coordinate of r will be equal to 5. Now, when you look at the answer options, you can see option C, D and E have the x coordinate as 5. Alright, now this angle over here is 90. It's given in the question. Therefore, this angle over here also will be equal to 90 because these two angles form a straight line over here, right? So this is a straight angle. So the sum of these two angles has to be 180 degree, and if this is 90, this is also 90. Now if this is 90 and this is 45, then this angle over here will also be equal to 45. Why is that so? Because you have a triangle over here, and the sum of the angles of a triangle is equal to 180 degree. 45 plus 90 gives you 180 degree. All right, now this is 45 and this is 45, so these two angles are equal. Therefore these two sides have to be equal. That's a property of isosceles triangles, right? If you have an isosceles triangle and if these two angles are equal, so in an isosceles triangle two angles have to be equal. So if these two angles are equal, the sides opposite the angles also have to be equal. So over here, let me call this point as D, then OD has to be equal to DR, and we can see over here that OD is equal to 5 because again D lies on this line over here. So the x coordinate is 5 over here, and the x coordinate at the origin is 0 because the origin is nothing but 0, 0, 0. So this distance over here is 5 units. So this distance over here also has to be 5 units. All right. So the coordinates of point R is 5, 5. Remember, it's minus 5 over here. 5, minus 5. Why is it minus 5? Because point R is below the x-axis, right? So that's why over here you have minus. So the correct answer is option E, right? So remember, it is not option C, it's option E. The correct answer is E. Some students make this mistake. So you should know that if you take a point below the x-axis, the y coordinate will be negative. That's why you have negative over here. So the correct answer is option E. Now, what does this question test? Let's look at the various concepts that you should know to be able to solve this question. So you have the x-axis over here and the y-axis over here. You should know that in the x-axis, this is positive and this is negative. Similarly, in the y-axis, this is positive and this is negative. So this is very important to know. All right. Another important concept is that the sum of the angles of a triangle is equal to 180 degree, right? And in an isosceles triangle, these two angles will be equal. Two angles, any two angles will be equal in an isosceles triangle. In this case, the sides opposite the equal angles will be equal. And finally, if you take two angles which are a linear pair, right? So this angle plus this angle form a straight angle, or these two angles are a linear pair. So if you add them up, you will get 180 degree. So these are the various concepts tested in this question. Remember, if you take any point over here in the first quadrant, the x coordinate will be positive and the y coordinate will be positive. If you take any point over here in the second quadrant, the x coordinate will be negative and the y coordinate will be positive. So it's the best way to remember this is as a figure, right? You don't need to by heart anything. You can see that this is positive, this is negative. So that's why x is negative and y is positive. You take any point over here, x is negative, y is negative. So it's negative, negative. And if you take any point over here, x is positive and y is negative. So it's positive, negative. Do check the description to know more about my GMAT Math live bootcamp, and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you in the next video.